Hey guys, it's Sam, and in this critique video, I am going over Animelovingnerd's art, and this is the picture they submitted. They said the goals were to draw themselves in uniform, and the struggle were the facial details and the frame of the person. So to start off with, I think it's actually pretty cute. I like the details, like the badge on the hat, and these little shoulder pad things, I don't know what they're called. I really like the eye style too, it's really cute. You mentioned the struggling with the face, and if you haven't already, I actually have a tutorial on face shapes, and I will put a link in the description for that and a supplemental capturing likeness mini tutorial that I did. It just talks about, just a quick summary, that faces have like different shapes, and just being able to identify those things can help you get a little bit more accurate in terms of likeness and just capturing essences of people's faces, as well as just if you're making your own characters, like how to make your characters look a little bit more unique from each other and kind of breaking that same face syndrome. But you have a nice start. Everything is lined up rather nicely. It's a little tricky to get too specific with this critique without like a reference to a picture of you to compare it with, since I don't know what you look like. But again, like if you're aiming for a closer likeness, I definitely think it's worthwhile to start off with the face shape itself and studying the subtleties of just the face in general and its features. Basically, what you'd want to do is just start to break things down into steps. Start with the overall face shape, or just like the shape of the skull, and you can ignore like the inner details for the time being just to get familiar with the overall form of the head. I know you mentioned that the issue was the facial details, and if you really want to, you can skip this step. But just from my own experience playing around with it, I think getting the initial face shape, whatever that may be, getting that down is a big step into capturing likeness, and the other features, just the facial features in general, just seem to fall in place much more readily. But for the facial features themselves, it's pretty much the same thing. You're just breaking it down into simple shapes, like for an eye, instead of thinking about like, oh, gotta have all these like intricate details, and it just gets complicated when it's like, oh no, what can I simplify this? You can just like start with a square or a rectangle, and then just start breaking it down from there. You can make notes about what you're seeing from your references, like what kind of shape is the nose? Is it a big nose? Is it a small nose? Is it upturned, crooked, hooked, whatever. And you can try from different angles too to try and get yourself a little bit more familiar with the face. So, from the side instead of just from the front, or maybe, the person's looking up. And similar advice could be said about the body too, breaking things down into basic shapes and just helping to make things appear less complicated. I don't know your process in drawing, but as general advice, drawing the body first before the clothing makes a huge difference. Clothing doesn't really help hide underlying mistakes or oddities. It's kind of like skipping over the framework of a house you're building and expecting it to still stand up. Building from the ground up for a figure can make things look more stable and generally higher quality. I can put additional tutorial links in the description for ones on the fundamentals of art, talking about line, shape, form, all of those, as well as a tutorial on just figure drawing as a whole, which could probably help you get a stronger grasp on drawing the body. And just as a general suggestion, it might be worthwhile to play around with line weight. You can taper off the edges, make them look a bit sharper. It's not a necessity, but just something to experiment with and try out. And if you use a mouse, you can always just erase the edges afterwards, or if you have Photoshop, I actually have a really super old and awkward tutorial on doing line work with a mouse. So I'll put that in the description too. Just kind of me fiddling around with it just to see the difference. Not necessarily saying that it's better, but just something to consider, to experiment and just play around with. So yeah, definitely keep at it though. Art is, it's a never-ending journey towards improvement, and I really hope that you're enjoying the process, and just think of every failure, struggle, and battle as just a learning experience to teach you how to make things even better in the future. So thank you again, Anime Loving Nerd, for submitting your artwork. Hopefully you found this helpful, and I wish you all the best. And if you guys would like to see more critique videos from me, there's a link to a playlist in the description. And thanks so much for watching. Bye!